Yeah, okay, sorry. So, Lucia, you did, yes? Lucia?
Hi, yes, I'm Lucia from Lima, Peru, and I'm a master's student on physics on the Pontifical University of Peru, Catholic University of Peru. Yes, I'm really interested in what teaching means, but I think I wanted to take this, I'm not sure if it's fine, but I wanted to make a comment about how's academia going, how's academia the path that it's taking right now. I'm a master's student, and I've been doing research since I was an undergraduate student, and I also have some duties as a teacher assistant at the university. How do you think the evolution of academia is going, since, for example, there are some problems, for example, for students to grow inside academia, and I think there are some other problems like it's difficult to make a publication. There are some journals that sometimes they ask for a payment to publish, and there's then the peer review that I'm quite sure that it doesn't give a payment. So I don't know. I wanted to ask you, how do you think academia is going to evolution on time, and how do you think we the students what do you think we the students can do to improve this?
Brilliant. Okay, Saul, that's fantastic. There's your question. We see Luis working on his equation back there. We'll come back to you in a minute, Luis, for a quick summary. Have to be quick. Saul, but please, if you want to work on Lucia's question, that would be great.
No, I think, Lucia, you're absolutely right in pointing out that it's become very difficult, I think. And now, what I don't know is, maybe it goes in cycles, and it's been difficult in the past, and it became easier, and then more difficult again. But I do think that this is one of the a harder time for many people to find their way in a academic profession, and I think that and of course it does depend a little bit on which country you're in and where you are. So occasionally I talk to friends in countries where it feels like they're actually healthy in the way that they move people forward in the academic world. But I think in many parts of the world, it's the fact that we've reached a point where the publications are oversubscribed, so it's hard to get publications in. The funding is often oversubscribed, and so people write many proposals before they get funding for any research. It does seem like it's undercutting this engine that we have in our society, where if we had a little bit more resources for that kind of work, I think it would pay back, and I think it would be make it more pleasurable to be a scientist during this period, and I think it would, and the societies would all benefit from it, because I think it's been every time we put extra resources into the research and academic world, I think it seems like it's always paid back very well.
Lucía Coll, you wanted to just come in briefly, very brief.
Yes, so I wanted to make a comment on politics and science here in Latin America. Here in Peru, I have got to the conclusion that the government is against science. One of the principal ideas in here is that Peruvian government had fight COVID in a way that wasn't recommended by scientists, and all the epidemiologists and biologists and all Peruvian scientists were asking the government to change the politics of fighting the pandemic, but it didn't work. So I think there has started a movement of scientists on social media talking about science, trying to communicate in a better way science, but we're in a very poor country where most of the population doesn't have access to social media or even internet. So the communications is always from TV, and there are a lot of fake news and pseudoscience in there. So my question is, what can we scientists do to improve this, to fight this? I mean, do we need to work with politics, with the government, or is it better, do you think it's better if we work from our own, from science associations or something like that? Because fighting with the government, sometimes it's hard.
I mean, I should I should begin by commenting that I only have my own personal experience in the particular combinations of situations that I've seen around me, and so I would never want to give anybody else advice where you would probably know even better than I would about what will work and not work locally. But I will say that in the United States, even in recent years, we've seen what looked like an echo of that same description of what you're saying. For example, the response to the pandemic, and here I think the scientists have concluded that the best you can do is everything. That essentially all you can do is say, well, we have to keep trying to work with the government and try to help them understand why, even for all their own interests, they care about a scientific approach. But we also have to work with, as educators, and try to help the public understand whatever the government is doing. The public should understand what they need to know, and how to think about problems, and how to judge what they're hearing. And I think so all we can do is try as many things as we can, and it may be that 1 year, 1 decade, this will work, and another year, another decade, that will work. But I think that we don't have any choice to give up, right? I think we just have to do it, because that's we're the ones who I think recognize this need, and we have to try to offer something. I'll be curious, by the way, since we've been trying to figure out how do we develop this course for high school students to be taught in different parts of the world, I'd be curious to know about in parts of the world where there is not easy access to the internet, whether or not, if we made things available to teachers on the internet, whether they would be able to download things and print them out, or what would be the most useful ways to have that material available to them?
Well, I think right now in the pandemics, teachers got the information, yes, from internet. So in the countryside of Peru, teachers went, sometimes there's isn't internet connection, even though in small towns, so they have to go to bigger towns or cities. They got an internet connection, download the material and take them to the towns, or they use the radio. There has been a TV program that became a radio program too, called Learning in Home, that it was for educating kids in school. And yeah, but it is actually, here in Peru, it's really difficult because of all the mountains. People have to walk hours to get the radio signal or internet signal, but it had worked. Like in the bigger image, it worked. So yeah, downloading the information and having radio programs, it's a good idea. I think it had worked. Thank you very much.
Okay, good. That's helpful to know.
Thank you.